Hello and welcome to this video about some of the audio features in Hitman Season 1. I made a few of these and I worked a lot on some of the levels in the game, and I'm going to show you how we did some of these things. So this here is Sapienza. This is one of the levels that I worked quite a lot on. This is also where some of the features that I created was tested the most, and I'll show you. The first feature here is the fake crowd. This is a system that tracks if the crowd system that we would normally use to generate crowded areas, if that is not in use. It would simply be a volume box that I would then use to detect the amount of NPCs within the volume box. This would then be used to be placed in areas where I would want dialogue to come from, so that if you were walking past a crowded area, then there would be people talking. But this gave us the advantage that we could then create it in the language of the level. We were quite tired of games coming out with everybody speaking English or everybody having the same accent regardless of where you were. So we wanted to add actual Italian to this level. The thing about it is that you then locate the volume, the collider that you're looking for, around the area where you want it to track. In this case, around these cafe tables, as you see here. And it'll then track if there are 2, 3, or 4 people sitting at this table or more. And then it will fade between variations of 2, 3, and 4 people talking. This allows us to generate an ambience that sounds like that there is people actively speaking and having a conversation at this cafe area, even though that there is no lines written for this. It also means that we can then not only make it sound busy, but we can also control that you cannot walk to the actual emitter.
I love this place.
The fake crowd also works, so let's say not so crowded areas, but you know that there will always be NPCs in a certain area, and you can place this volume or collider box in that area, and the emitter will already be in the center of it. So let's see, down here there's going to be 2 people at the corner. It will automatically sound like there's some sort of activity. But if we walk up real close to them, you can't hear them speaking because there is no actual syncing up to the animation of them being there. So it's only for ambience and the ability to be able to fake a crowd once you're walking past it. Down here by the beach area, there's a lot of people just lying around, and we want it to sound like that there is people there talking, but you're not supposed to be able to pick which one of them is actually talking.
And a good day to you.
The collider box is, that's because I remember, is located around these 2 people and this area here. There's also up here on a bench area, located a couple. So in case suddenly another person enters this area where this guy's sitting, the fake crowd would be activated and start talking. In this restaurant area, there is an example of the fake crowd as well. There is a lot of NPC dialogue going on, but there is also life needed to be placed around the area. So we have placed these volumes around the seating areas to generate this sort of talking vibe. People are just talking in the background. You won't be able to tell what they're saying.
Honestly, please, and I apologize for talking business. I know this isn't the right place. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I mean, you must think I'm a real fool.
The same goes for this area here. There are 2 people here, all connected, and there should be fake dialogue. Over here, as you can see, there are people here.
I mean, if I was a painter, I would go live in Paris
And there's a generated pseudo-Japanese talking in the background, so it just sounds like there's activity here. It's a really nice way of adding stuff to the atmosphere of the place without adding actual dialogue to the characters. And it's a really cool thing.
Mr. Jason Portman.
Another system that I have been using is the ability to place volumes or colliders around the area, which would then trigger certain things when you enter these colliders. And one of the things that we wanted to do is to add this very generic setup called a wind distortion. We could use it you could trigger it manually through other events, or you can also walk into this collider and it will trigger when you're there. It's very useful for underlining that you are now high up or in a windy area or looking over something that is supposed to be big or far away or something, instead of adding musical cues or much more loud sounds. And you can tell when we go to these corners, this platform here overlooking the whole thing, you will be able to hear this wind distortion, which is just the microphone distorting. Very unique way of telling that there's wind in your ears.
Untimely? Like she's not comfortable in her own skin?
Yeah, you saw how she dropped her bags off the lift crossing the gorge.
It's just nicotine cravings.
And it works like this, that it does trigger automatically over time, then you can re-trigger it. But in this case, I know that there's also a volume right here, which allows it to reset, so that in case you come back here, then it will work immediately. It's a logic system that we made so that you can't re-trigger it manually, it will only re-trigger until you've been outside of the box.
Word has it there are blood ties that her father was, Yakuza. I don't know, rumors.
I know I'm new and all, but it's pretty clear to me that whoever Yuki Yamazaki works for, it ain't the friggin' Yakuza.
So, the footstep system is also quite detailed. It allows for tracking of whenever Hitman is taking a step.
Actually read mine.
It triggers, of course, through the animation whenever he takes a step, but it tracks what shoe is he wearing and what material is he stepping on. In this case, it's leather shoes and it's on concrete or tile. And it will simply just track that. And it'll play the material and the shoe in relation to each other. So this is a unique mix that we've made. And in case you walk over a different material, then the shoe might not be as loud. Let's say if you're walking on grass, then it's a mix of the grass sound and the leather shoe, but not in the same mix. By doing so, we make sure that the sound is always the same. It's like it's the same shoe that you're wearing. You are aware that this is the same shoe, but the mix is different. And that way we create some sort of link between the footwear that he can wear, and we can use the material over and over again, just mix it differently. Here you see he starts walking on sand. It's still the leather shoe, but it's just sand. And if he had been wearing a different shoe, it would have sounded different. The mix would have been slightly different depending on how hard we believe he would step on this sand. Another example is also if he steps on wood, especially in here in the church, there is a nice staircase in the back that he can step on. This staircase is still the same shoe, blended with the wood. But we have added a sweetener to this specific staircase so that it once in a while has this squeaky sound to it.
Director, nice to see you.
Ah,
And that's it. That's some of the audio features that we used in Hitman. We use these systems for a lot of things. So it's not just for fake crowd. It's not just for the wind distortion and so on. It's not just for the footsteps. The wind distortion, for example, is being used in many places where we use it to trigger sounds once or twice or only the first time you enter an area. But because of this, we now have this prefab. We now have a template that we can just add to places and do it quickly. Just add a volume to an area and say, whenever you enter here, this will play. It's a quite simple triggering of a sound, but once you have a template that does this for you and allows you to easily set up retriggering rules, then it becomes really powerful and it's really useful. Like triggering animals when you walk in certain areas, triggering wind when you're in certain areas, and so on. It's really useful. The same with the footsteps. It became this really quite detailed, stretched out system, which allowed us to, on each level, alter the materials, alter the sounds, alter the frequencies, alter the mix of everything in combination. So if we wanted him to wear special boots, then we could just call these special boots in the switch system of our third-party software, which is Wise, and make sure that the mix would then be perfect to every level that we wanted this to be in. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just fire away in the comments box.